Hi, I'm Grant. Here's a review and my thoughts on the 5.4mm lens, aftermarket lens you can use for your GoPro, specifically for shooting it with your DJI Phantom. So what is it and why would you want it? This is a 5.4mm lens which I got from Peau Productions. Forgive my pronunciation if it's wrong. Peau, links below. There's two main companies that offer this aftermarket lens for your GoPro, Peau Productions and Ragecam, and I'll put the links below in the video. So what these companies offer is essentially to remove your standard or the lens that comes with your GoPro and replace it with a variety of different lenses which give you different focal lengths. The 5.4mm lens is quite a popular one for use with your DJI Phantom or for aerial filming because it essentially gives you a non-distorted and a bit more of a zoomed in view rather than the fisheye view that your standard GoPro lens gives you. The 5.4mm aftermarket lens on my GoPro Hero 3 Black effectively changes the horizontal field of view from 123 degrees, which is your stock GoPro lens, to 62 degrees, or if you're thinking in terms of a 35mm camera equivalent, from essentially a 16mm native GoPro lens to a 29mm lens or field of view. The 5.4mm lens actually feels a bit tighter than the 29.97 that they claim. It actually feels a little bit more like 35mm to me, but I could be wrong. I bought this 5.4mm lens from Peau Productions and I had it pre-installed in the GoPro Hero 3 Black. It was just before the GoPro Hero 4 came out. You can also buy the lens by itself and install it yourself if you are brave enough. I love the GoPro, but it also frustrates me for shooting video with my DJI Phantom. This is mainly because the fisheye lens distorts the verticals. This is most obvious when you have the camera tilted down, and I generally only use it tilted all the way down or all the way up to try and minimize the fisheye effect on horizons or verticals. I bought the 5.4mm lens for three main reasons. Number one was a more zoomed in image. Number two was non-distortion of your verticals or your horizon line. And number three, you don't have to be so close to something to get a tighter shot. So here's my thoughts on having owned and used this 5.4mm lens for about 2 months now. Firstly, the good. I really like the tighter field of view, and especially the non-distortion on your horizons or your verticals, especially if there's real estate involved in your shot. You'll now hardly ever get your landing gear or your props in shot because of it's a narrower shot from the camera, so the chances of getting those in now are a lot slimmer than with the native fisheye. You can get tighter shots of subjects without having to be right on top of them or being so near them, which is always a little bit probably safer when operating your quadcopter. You now have the ability to tilt your camera on your gimbal without distorting your horizons or your vertical lines to more accurately line up your shot. However, like many things, these advantages are not without their disadvantages or problems. Firstly, because of the zoomed in lens or the narrow field of view, all movement is exaggerated, so therefore your slowest tilt or your slowest pan is actually a lot quicker than with a native GoPro lens. It's already tough to get smooth pans on your DJI Phantom, so it's even tougher now because the movement is even quicker than with your native GoPro lens. Secondly, vibration now is also exaggerated, so now I have found that this lens is very prone to jello or vibration showing up in your footage. I've tried, and I have been using an ND filter on the camera. I've tried running it at 1080, 50p, everything to try to bring the shutter down on the GoPro to minimize the jello in the background, but I've only had very mixed results and it's extremely hard to get rid of that jello. Another disappointing feature of this aftermarket lens is the purple fringing I was getting in the top left hand corner of my shots. Now this may be particular to perhaps this installation on this camera or this particular lens on this camera. I have written to Peau Productions, not very good at saying that, am I? And asked them. They said it might be due to the IR cut, and they have offered to replace it, but it unfortunately takes such a long turnaround from New Zealand to post the camera and get it back. I haven't gone down that route. It's most noticeable in still frames. You can see it in the top left corner of the still frames and this purple fringing. So you're paying a lot of money to have this lens in this camera, so I'm not that stoked about the purple fringing going on in there, I'm afraid. So my final thoughts on the 5.4mm lens and using it for shooting from your multi-rotor. I love the zoomed in look that it gives you, especially for shooting real estate, more natural view. Disappointed with the color fringing. I also would like it, another thought I had is actually it's just a little bit too zoomed in. I'd like the lens to perhaps be a little bit wider. This would also help reduce jello, vibration, slow your movements down a little bit. It's probably just a little bit too zoomed in for my liking. For example, I was recently on a job where we were shooting architecture for a TV show. I had my 5.4mm lens and I also had my native GoPro, and they asked me to do just a couple of wide sort of aerials for to go with the other stuff we'd been shooting. I went with the native GoPro because I could guarantee that footage with the native lens would just be smoother, unfortunately, and not jello. So I couldn't guarantee the footage from a 5.4mm lens, whereas I'm pretty comfortable that I'm going to give them jitter-free, jello-free, good results from the native GoPro lens. All in all, I like it, but not as much as I thought I would. It's currently priced at $250 US just for the lens, or $670 US pre-installed on a GoPro Hero 3 Black, which is this one that I got. As I said earlier, it's a lot of money. I would probably, if you're tossing up between the two, I'd probably go for just the new GoPro Hero 4. Thanks for watching.